moons ago, while visiting my grandmother up near the Aberdares, she told me a story of a young boy named David. David was only 7 years old. He lived farther down the road, far, far beyond the main road, where the houses began to scatter and the road slowly disappears into narrow dirt paths. This village lies in a remote area in Nyandarua County, deep in the slopes of the Aberdare Ranges. It was here, in this quiet corner of the world, that one night, David became very sick. He had a high fever and had difficulty breathing. His parents were worried, but the nearest clinic was miles away. No car could reach their home, and traveling through the village at night was extremely difficult. So they waited. They hoped the fever would go down. They prayed that by morning, David would feel better. Sadly, only a few hours later, David was gone. He never lived to see the next morning. That story has stayed with me since. I was only 6 when my grandmother told me the story, but I remember the details to this day. Hearing David's story got me thinking, how many children in Africa live far from hospitals? How many mothers in rural communities have to walk for hours just to reach a clinic? But more importantly, should the place that we are born determine whether we live or die like it did for David? For many families living in rural areas, these questions are not just thoughts, they are daily realities. Reflecting, I realized that healthcare sometimes is not only about medicine. Sometimes it's about access. Sometimes it's about distance. Sometimes it's about whether help can reach you when you need it the most. And that is exactly why I believe the future of healthcare lies at the intersection between medicine and technology. Because technology has the power to shrink distance, break barriers, and bring care to places it has never reached before. As I thought about David's story, I couldn't help wondering, what if the future had already reached that village? What if technology was there to help? In a future where technology and community work together, David's story might have been very different. In that kind of future, David's school teacher might have trained David to recognize signs of an asthma attack. A local leader, together with healthcare workers, could have organized health awareness meetings to help ensure that parents know how to recognize asthma early using digital solutions. Together, these small steps from teachers, community leaders, and health workers help ensure that a child like David gets help long before it becomes an emergency. The truth is, in today's world, access to healthcare is not equal, but technology is slowly changing that. Ladies and gentlemen, a reality where no child dies because the hospital is too far is possible, but that reality will not build itself. And this is where I believe my generation comes in. We are the generation that is born into technology. We understand apps, devices, and digital tools. And because we understand it so well, I believe we can transform it. The tools are already in our hands. The questions are, what will we do with them? And how exactly will we get there? Across the world, we have some young people who are already taking the first step. We have an example of Jack Andraka, a boy who developed a new way for detecting pancreatic cancer when he was only 15 years old. Or Gitanjali Rao, who invented a device that can detect lead contamination in drinking water more quickly and cheaply than many traditional methods. She was only 11 years old. And this brings us back to David's story. I often imagine how different things might have been if David was wearing a small, smart digital bracelet that could detect his temperature, his breathing, and his heart rate every single day. And better yet, give instructions to his parents on what to do. Innovations like these don't have to come from huge labs or famous inventors. They can come from curious, young, determined minds from anywhere in the world. And just imagine how incredible it would be if one day an invention like that came from someone sitting right here among us. And if that life-saving idea comes from one of us, remember this moment, because history may one day trace it back here. So tonight, somewhere in Africa, another little boy might struggle to breathe. But with unshakable conviction and unwavering hope, I know that tomorrow, through innovation, compassion, and those of us brave enough to dream, children like David will breathe again. Thank you.